Welcome back, fabulous people. So good to see you. Thank you for coming back. Last week, I discussed the first 5 episodes of Season 1 of Married at First Sight. I'm back to finish off the season. I don't know what I'm going to do after this, but maybe more, like, bad queer shows. Turns out when you look at queer representation, a lot of it's garbage. That's fine with me. I saw that a new season of The Ultimatum Queer Love is coming out. Don't you worry. I'll be covering that shit the day it drops. I'm eating that shit up. Double forking it. Right into my gullet, down my goozler. To my garage. Hey, dude, quick shout out to whoever my 65 plus girlies are watching the videos. Hey, love you, queen. What the fuck? Oh, but shout out to the people that are like under 13 watching these. Hey, I don't know, go to the YMCA. Do something else. I don't want to be responsible for any kind of impact this has on your developing brain. Thank you. All right, let's just go right into it. Let's finish off these last 5 episodes of Season 1 of Married at First Sight, which it turns out very similar to Love is Blind. We could have had about 5 episodes total of this show. I'm going to tell you the next 5 episodes really kind of drag. We see the couples, especially Vaughn and Monet, recycle the same fights over and over. The same fight every fucking day. They're just like, they're a lazy Susan of just like fighting and then fucking and then fighting and then fucking. It's miserable. But let's blast through these episodes so we can get down to decision day to see who decides to stay married and who's getting that big old D. Divorce. First off, episode 6, we see Courtney and Jason talking. What the fuck is this apartment setup? What is that behind them? It's like a perched up waterbed, which would kind of fuck, actually. I don't know how you would keep the water dispersion from like going down because of gravity, but if you could get a waterbed that like props up, would that feel good on the back, or is that not enough support? As I'm getting into my late 20s, I'm finding out the importance of good lumbar support. Courtney says that they're still trying to figure out who they are as individuals, not only just as a couple, who they are as individuals. Hey, yeah. Duh, like we knew that's kind of the problem of the show, especially with such young people, is like you don't even know who you are. I'm 27. I don't know what nothing makes sense. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I've been. Where am I? Does that ever stop? I don't know. They also bring up that they have not discussed birth control or the timeline of when they want to have children, which I feel like is important.
I know where I stand. I need to be a mother, and I need to have a partner that wants to be a father.
How is that not a question the experts asked? Like, do you want kids? When? Your thoughts and feelings on birth control? I think the best birth control is for every guy out there to just get a little...
You make a loop-de-loop and pull.
It's not even a snip, it's just a tie that you can untie. It's like a shoe. Boys, take your shoes to the clinic. Get them laced up. Seems easy to me. You don't want to do that? Wrap the biscuit. I don't know. Pop the can out of the biscuit and wrap it up. Doug and Jamie. They're talking about intimacy and attractiveness, and Jamie says that she finds Doug attractive, and she wants him to find her attractive too. This is a big old 180 from the first episode when she was like, I think if we make eye contact, I will combust. And he, again, great personality, wonderful personality. What's that hair, my guy? The ruffled in front and then the combed in the middle?
When you're close to somebody and you're cuddling, the frustration is that, you get worked up and then you don't have that release. The next morning it could hurt a little bit.
Doug, baby, go to the bathroom. Nobody's stopping you. We see Doug and Jamie also get lunch with Doug's siblings. And here we kind of see Jamie express how she's really afraid to get close to Doug's family because they're so great and so wonderful and such a family that she's always wanted. She's afraid she's going to get close to them then this marriage is going to end and she's going to lose a family all over again. Also, Jamie, holy shit, iron that jacket. Whoa. I've never ironed anything in my life. I think one time I did pants. That's crazy. Throw that shit in the dryer, put it on fluff mode, something. You're going to be on camera, girl. Vaughn and Monet. We see them eating dinner, and holy shit, did he eat all of those noodles. One scene, we see him with a plate full. 3 pounds of noodles packed on there. And I get it. We have some great Vietnam food around here. I can put that shit away. But that was a lot. My man is carbo loading for a marathon with that shit. They talk about how they can bone no matter what. They can be in a fight, just had a fight. It's not good. That's not a good relationship to just completely not talk about whatever issues you have going on and just bang it out. Because hey, guess what? The issue's still there. Once you hop out of bed all chipper for the day, the issue's still there. You still don't like her as a person. There's just no emotional connection between them. It's purely physical. It's really hard to watch them stay in this cycle of poor communication, attacking one another, having sex, and pretending like it's all fine. It is painful to watch, and then them be like, but I don't know, I think we're still gonna try to make it work. Which I know is probably a lot of married couples, actually. They do the activity that the expert gives them, this little fishbowl activity to talk about different types of intimacy in the relationship or different things they like about each other, or just a way to bring them closer. It's a little exercise to bring them closer. Monet and Vaughn have a good time with it. They seem to enjoy the activity, and it seems to be healthy for them. It's actually an exercise that brings them a little closer together. And then they immediately fight again. It's a fucking hamster wheel, just all fucking day with these two. Episode 7. We start off with Monet and Vaughn again. We catch them in the middle of the fight from episode 6. Y'all, break up. Holy shit. Break up. Again, they do not talk about their issues. Instead, they have sex, and then they're happy again.
I had the opportunity to vent with my girlfriends, release some frustration. By the time Vaughn got home, I was in a better space. I wasn't angry at him. And that night, we slept together, and it was good.
Wonderful. Glad we solved that one once and for all, guys. Jason and Courtney. Jason goes to see her burlesque show. Everybody's skill sets are at different levels. I'm glad Courtney's having fun. Courtney goes to see Jason wrestle. She doesn't love it as much. She loves supporting him, but she doesn't like seeing him get the pretend shit beat out of him, or real. I don't know, right? Because even in fake wrestling, like pro wrestling, the fake wrestling, I mean, you're still getting like slammed on the floor. I saw some clip of some girl laying on her head. I don't know how her fake opponent did not know she was cooked, because she landed straight on her head and neck and then just did one of these. I think she was supposed to continue moving, but she just... And her opponent just like dragged her by the feet over, laid over for the fucking 5 count. Hey, call an ambulance. Instead of calling out 1, 2, 3, call out 911. Jason still hasn't introduced Courtney to his mom, and this makes Courtney very emotional.
The reason why I haven't introduced mom to Courtney yet is just she's just battling lung cancer. So after my mom, I have no family really.
Doug and Jamie. They finally get to have dinner with Doug's family. Doug's mom really loves Jamie. That's something that Jamie was worried about, if his mom would approve, and his mom loves her. How could you not? Jamie seems sweet. I like Jamie's grown on me a lot. Jamie doesn't like talking about her family because they grew up very poor. They grew up in a trailer park, and that's just something she's very embarrassed of, and she doesn't really want Doug to see, because I think she still hasn't really processed a lot of the trauma that came from her childhood. And even just talking about her family or where she used to live, you can see really brings those emotions right back up to the forefront for her. They do go to have dinner with some of her siblings, some of her sisters who live in a trailer. They have wine and pizza. Amazing. That fucking rules, dude. That sure reminds me of my family. Doug wears his hat so low. This is how my dad used to wear it, like almost this exact same hat. They go to the actual trailer park that Jamie grew up in, and I think walk around what was her actual childhood trailer. It seems kind of vacant now, so I don't know if it's nobody lives there or what. But this does make Jamie very emotional. I mean, you can see, like, you can almost see her just reliving everything that happened to her in that trailer and in her childhood, and it really is hard for her. And Doug doesn't really know how to comfort her. That's a world he doesn't know anything about.
It's difficult for me to sort of relate to any of the stories. You know, I want her to know that I'm there for her.
He grew up in a loving home, in a, comfortable home. This was stuff that he never experienced. So he's trying to comfort her, and you can tell there's some disconnect there, but he's trying. Episode 8. I told y'all, we're blazing through this shit. There's too many episodes in this season. Too many. Jamie talks about growing up a little bit more, how they grew up sometimes without heat or electricity. She also tells us how she saw her mom go through a lot of violence from her stepdad. She talked about him choking her. She mentioned something about guns. We don't know how those were used, but she brings up that was a very scary, threatening part of her childhood. And then we get the drama of the century for Doug and Jamie. Doug smokes a cigarette and lies about it. Ruh-roh.
And I was like, you smell like an ashtray. And I was like, I don't know how. I was just like, it's so weird. I think I smell like a cigarette on your breath. He's like, I didn't have a cigarette. Like, and just like so defensive, and then it went on. And he was like, I swear on my mother's life, I didn't have a cigarette.
And that's Jamie's issue with the thing. She doesn't really care that he smoked a cigarette. She cares that he lied about it and tried to lie so hard about it that he swore on his mother's life. Like, it does seem it's a little much. That's a little much. That's like if, you eat your partner's last popsicle and they're like, did you eat my last bomb pop? And you're like, dude, I swear on my great-grandma, who I'm named after and took care of in her later stages of dementia, that I did not eat that bomb pop. Whole time your mouth's just covered in like red, white, and blue. It's like, why lie about that, man? And I get it. The lying, especially when you're still so new into a relationship, they're only like, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks into the relationship at this point, and with someone who has had such a traumatic past as Jamie, you do have to really kind of coddle that trust because it's very fragile at that stage. And Doug, I don't know, I think he was just embarrassed, right? Like, because he seems like such a well-rounded guy, and maybe he was embarrassed about getting caught, embarrassed about feeling in a weak spot that he had to smoke a cigarette, but he overcorrected a bit hard. They do get to talk to one of the therapists about this, and after talking, they seem a little bit better. The therapist is able to reassure her that, you've seen a lot more examples of how you can trust Doug than how you can't. But ultimately, we'll have to see how this plays out for this couple. Vaughn and Monet talk to Vaughn's mom, and Vaughn's mom's actually really cool. She's very level with things. She's not like on Vaughn's side against Monet. She's trying to kind of act as a mediator between the two, which is really nice. And she tells Vaughn, hey, if you're going to go out there and look for the perfect person, you're never going to find them. That's not how it is. You find someone that's complementary to you, that makes you grow and be better. And you're not going to love every single thing about them. And you have to work to have a good relationship from both sides. Vaughn's mom tells Monet that she should try basically babying him a little more, which is so funny. This like grown man, alpha man, military man. And she's like, you have to baby him. Like any man, you have to coddle them and hold their hand and tell them it's okay, yes, you're a big, strong man. You take care of the house. Oh, our protector. She's like, you just have to attend to him after work, make him feel special. Even if you don't mean it, pretend.
Men are just fragile. They want to feel appreciated. They want you to, fawn over them somewhat. You don't have to mean it, just do it.
She's very real for that. You do have to make a man feel important. Like you know how when you're doing dishes and the little kid wants to help, so you let him wash like one fork the whole time, and you're like, thank God you were here to help me, to make them feel useful, even though the whole thing. And then you re-wash that fork when they're done, because it's fucking not clean. They fight again. Vaughn mentioned something about basically just being civil in this relationship, and Monet's like, I don't want to be civil. I want to have a life partner. So what the fuck are we doing here? Another fight. They talk to a therapist. They kind of work it out. We're back on the carousel. We're just going around and around. When do we get off? Courtney and Jason. They're still having some issues with their schedules. They're not really getting to see each other a whole lot because they work at opposite times and have their burlesque and wrestling activities to attend. Courtney feels like Jason's still not opening up very much to her. Courtney's also stressed about Jason going to firefighter school because it's going to take up even more time that they already kind of don't have with each other.
One of the things that worries me is just like what happens with the fire academy. Right now, I'm a hazmat EMT and an aspiring firefighter. My biggest concern is when I do, eventually go to fire academy, because if my schedule is crazy now, it's only going to get harder from here on out.
And Jason worries that the stress of firefighter school and not seeing each other much is going to make Courtney want to leave him, maybe once the experiment is even over. Jason does finally open up a little bit to Courtney about how it was hard for him growing up without much family, and that he really only had his mom, and he never really had a father figure to show him what a good husband or a good man exemplified, what they actually did. So he's kind of having to figure out how to be there, how to show up how he needs to on his own with no example, which would be difficult. Episode 9. Okay, oh my god, I'm sweating so much. I don't know why it's so hot in this house. Denial is a river at the breach of my ass crack, I'll tell you that. Jesus Christ. Vaughn and Monet. The therapist has them write each other some apology letters about things that they've done to hurt each other and how they can be better.
I like to flat out apologize for my crappy and impatient behavior throughout this process.
I am really big on someone being accountable and acknowledging what you did.
They accept each other's apology letters. They're all good. Vaughn expresses how he really wants a woman to cook for him after work, that he wants to come home to a nice hot meal. That's something that he expects out of a partner. And the funny thing is, he doesn't realize that she also works during the day and comes home. And if she were to bring up to him, hey, why don't you get your little tookus in the kitchen and cook me up something nice? He's like, what? But me man, me no cook. You woman, you cook and clean. Me muscle. He has such like a caveman understanding of what it is to be married. It's interesting. Since this is basically their last night together before their big decision, they go to a dinner and they kind of act like it's a first date again. They try to not bring up anything from the past, have like a nice fresh start, and they actually get along pretty well. They give each other some watches as an anniversary gift, and they have a good date. And it also pisses me off that throughout the whole time, the experts are like, Monet and Vaughn are a great couple together. What show have you been watching? They don't respect each other. They don't like each other. If they were built like Barbie dolls and didn't have genitalia, I think this would have ended after night 1, actually. Doug and Jamie. Jamie's still a little skeptical with the trust. It's starting to rebuild over the next week, but it's still something that's definitely in the back of her mind.
Trust is the only real issue I think we have, but without it, we'll never be able to succeed.
That's right.
Doug talks about how he's like, it's okay, like I know you're not a very romantic person. And Jamie's like, oh no, I am, just only when I love someone.
I don't really think I've done anything that romantic for you. Is that
Really?
sad? Yeah, what have I done that's romantic for you?
You're just not a romantic person.
No, I
that's all.
am, but I save it for when I'm really in love.
And this hurts Doug's little feelings. Doug's like, hey, I'm not a sensitive guy, but like, dang, I got feelings. And that kind of broke my little heart a little bit. For Doug's anniversary gift to Jamie, he goes to an open mic, a comedy open mic, and dedicates his set to her. It was short, pretty clean, pretty standard. I've seen crazy things happen on stage. When you give a stranger 4 minutes to say whatever they want to a crowd, it gets worrisome quickly, I'll tell you that. Jamie, for their anniversary gift, gets them a redo photo shoot to kind of make up for the wedding photos from the first time, where she was like, if he touches me, I'm gonna jump out that window. So, and they're cute. They turn out much better. It looks like they enjoy each other's company. Courtney and Jason. Again, Courtney still feels like Jason isn't letting her in as much as she would like.
He hasn't opened up to me. I'm not sure why.
Marriage is a sacred thing, Marriage is something that you want to do, and in the beginning I half took it serious, I half didn't, but now I completely and utterly take it serious.
But honestly, for only knowing a person for like a month, I think he's doing a pretty good job. It takes a long time for some people to warm up. I think it takes a long time for anyone to warm up to a partner and start telling them all their childhood traumas. Courtney gets tickets to a Rocky show on Broadway for Jason for their anniversary. Didn't know they had Rocky on Broadway. I might go see that show. That'd be kind of slay. Ooh, wait. New idea for a Broadway show, Rocky Horror Picture Show, blended with Rocky. It's just Rocky in a corset. Rocky fighting in a corset. I'm selling tickets tomorrow. Jason gets her a shirt with his name and their wedding date on it. Jason's kind of a beefcake. A lot going on here, and here. Up here. Episode 10. Thank God. Episode 10. The big decisions. Are these couples gonna stay married or get divorced? Let's find out. They do like a bunch of recaps through this episode of like the past history and show some more content of them. It's like an hour, 45-minute episode. Hey, I went ahead and skipped about 95% of it. Just tell me if they stay married or not, So who stays married, who gets divorced? Let's start off with Courtney and Jason. They decide to stay married. Vaughn and Monet decide to get divorced. Doug and Jamie. We've seen a lot of ups and downs with this couple, but in the end, they decide to stay married. Oh. And you may be wondering, where are these couples now? Where are they? Well, Doug and Jamie are still together. They actually celebrated 10 years together in 2023. They have 4 kids together. They did, throughout their time, actually endure some miscarriages, which were really hard for them. But now they have 4 children together, including two identical twins. Hey, how does that make sense? They have 1 identical twin. Duh! They have identical twins. Courtney and Jason. Another one of our couples that decided to stay married until 2019. There's not a lot of information on why they got divorced, but they got divorced in 2019. And then both remarried in 2020. I would love to know the story there. Vaughn had a son in 2016 and moved to Germany. I don't know if he still lives there, and I don't know if he has a wife or not. The information was a bit ambiguous on that too. We don't know a lot about Monet. She's been pretty private since the show, but hopefully she's doing well. Oh, folks. Woo! What a time. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for going on this wild ride with me. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. My 65-plussers. Love you especially. See you next time. Bye-bye.